side. We have the number 44 of Joe Lewis and Joe Williamson Jr. and the number 53 on the outside of him. On back in the lineup, we have the number 1 of Donnie Sullivan, and on the outside of him, Scott Toohey in the number 38. Chuck Winders in the number 8, and then the number 5 of Chuck Barnes, tonight's fastest qualifier. George Koch in the number 99, last week's feature event winner, and on the outside of him, Tom Gray in the number 40. On back in the lineup to Les Vogt in the number 22, and on the outside of him, Darrell Hadley in the number 12, and then it's Gary Ott in the number 33. On the outside of him, Mike Priscillius in the number 28. Kelly Goodlett will be in the number 08, and then on back to Bill Wallace in the number 17. The number 79 of Gary Morris. On the outside of him, David Thornton in the number 32. A newcomer tonight, the number 34 of Terry Smith, and the number 21 of Bill Bird. That's the starting lineup as they roll off into turns 1 and 2. Our thanks to Club Caddies, located at Poplar Level Road and the Old Shepherdsville Road, the proud sponsor of all the racing action here tonight. Remember, $1 off your first drink tonight if you show your Louisville Motor Speedway ticket stub at Club Caddies. Join us out there on Tuesday nights for the videotape replays of all the racing action here at Louisville Motor Speedway. The field's double stacked down in turns 3 and 4. Set for the start, Tom Seidler, a former dirt racing driver around the southern Indiana area, and Charlie Pierce, a 4-time feature event winner, on the front row as the green flag comes out. We're racing at Louisville Motor Speedway in the NASCAR Winston Racing Series Martin Landscaping Sportsman Division. Marshall Jaggers makes a super move out of turn number 2 and looks to the inside of Charlie Pierce, takes over the number 1 spot. Now to the inside of Tom Seidler as they sashay off down the front straightaway and into turns 1 and 2. Off turn 2, and Marshall Jaggers driving like a man possessed in the number 91 right way grinding saw, and Tool Camaro brings it to the vanguard as they come out of turn 4. Seidler rides at second, Charlie Pierce for third, Joe Williamson Jr. at fourth, and rounding out the top 5, it's Chuck Barnes and Scott Toohey side by side as they exit turn 2 and bust down the back straightaway. Jaggers uses every bit of the 12-degree banking in the 4-turn area, opens up about a 3-car length separation between himself and the rest of the field. Seidler at second. The number 7 now of Charlie Pierce gets an attack to the inside by Joe Williamson Jr. Those 2 cars side by side out of the 4th turn. Chuck Barnes now scoots past the inside of Scott Toohey, and they're back into turns 1 and 2. Bill Bird, unfortunately, up against the outside retaining wall on the back straightaway, headed back towards the pit area very slowly. Top 6 cars move out of turn 4. Marshall Jaggers opens it up now. 5-car length separation between himself and the rest of the field as they move into turns 1 and 2. Down the back straightaway, Charlie Pierce now to the outside of Tom Seidler. They're side by side moving into turns 3 and 4. Joe Williamson Jr. came into tonight's competition as the top driver in the point standings. However, it looks like he might give up a spot to Chuck Barnes as Donnie Sullivan mows the grass up in the 1st and 2nd turn area of the speedway. Track photographer Rhonda Greer stepping back out of the way there. Lap 7 complete. Marshall Jaggers out front, a standout in the mini stock division 1 year ago, and has all of about an 8-car length separation between himself and Germantown, Kentucky's Tom Seidler. Chuck Barnes now coming all the way out of the number 13 starting spot, moves up and now runs at 5th place, eyes up the outside of Charlie Pierce as they move down the back straightaway. He turns that Frederick Auto Supply built engine loose now out of turn 4. Up around the outside of Charlie Pierce and nails down the number 3 spot as they move into turns 1 and 2. Pierce now relegated to 4th on the field. Joe Williamson Jr. in that tumbleweed car currently goes at 5th. And then the Churchill Downs special, the number 38 of Scott Toohey, rides at 6th on the field. 7th now will go Chuck Winders, 8th to Reed Boone, 9th now to the 44 of Joe Lewis, and rounding out the top 10, last week's feature event winner, George Koch in the number 99 Thornton's Oil Company special. It's been all Marshall Jaggers after a super move coming out of turn 2 on the first lap of the contest to put that right way grinding saw and Tool Racing Camaro out front. The car is sponsored by Eastview Auto Parts, Dow Shoe Service, and Dixie Dry Cleaners, and Bratcher Apollo Lubricants. Looking back through the field, some dicing going on as Scott Toohey and Chuck Winders collide momentarily going into turns 1 and 2, and then the second contact by the number 44 of Joe Lewis will send Toohey up the 12-degree banking in turn number 3, and he'll take the hard right-hand turn back to the pit area. Back to the paddock, you might say. We need for Pam Williamson. Please go to the competition office immediately. Pam Williamson to the competition office. 14 laps in the books, and the number 91 of Marshall Jaggers. A very impressive run so far tonight. However, the number 5 of Chuck Barnes goes to the whip out of turn number 4 and down the front straightaway, getting past a lap car, the number 34 of Terry Smith. Terry Smith in a 79 Monte Carlo. His first appearance here at the Speedway. Now 1 lap down to the first and second place cars. The number 91 of Marshall Jaggers continues to run out front after 16 laps of competition. A bunch of smoke out of David Thornton's car could indicate there might be oil on the track in turn 2 as Thornton's car, and one car does get into the outside retaining wall extremely hard. It's the 21 of Bill Bird, his Tune-Up 2000 Racing Chevrolet, hitting the outside retaining wall up in turn number 2, and it does not bring out the caution flag. So 2 more cars now join in the action over in turn number 2 as the caution flag comes out. Okay, and it is a red flag situation right now. So once again, the red flag brought out for oil on the racetrack in the second turn area of the Speedway. The number 32 blowing an engine over in the second turn area of the racetrack has sent 3 or 4 cars into the outside retaining wall over in turn number 2. And that's the reason for the caution flag. Our Jim & Sons Wrecker Service team headed over in that direction. And it looks as though Gary Morris has climbed out of his machine and is walking around beside the damaged cars. That the number 34 also of Terry Smith, and the number 21 of Bill Bird was the first car into the outside retaining wall so far. So the red flag shown after 17 laps of competition here tonight in the Winston Martin Landscape. Okay, so Marshall Jaggers and Chuck Barnes, first and second place. Now you can't discount the number 47 of Tom Seidler, a newcomer here to Louisville Motor Speedway, but certainly has a great history of dirt racing in southern Indiana. And the number 7 of Charlie Pierce, a 4-time feature event winner, and the current point leader, the number 53 of Joe Williamson Jr. As they come out of turn 4, the green flag is back out. Back into turns 1 and 2. Chuck Barnes, will he go for the lead or will he slip and slide? He slides. Marshall Jaggers slides into the first place position as they move down into turns 3 and 4. They're still side by side as they come down the front straightaway, and Marshall Jaggers looks like he has the track position going into turns 1 and 2 once again as they come out of turn 2. Now Jaggers slides up, gets to the outside, Barnes to the inside. Chuck Barnes pulls up to the inside, takes over the number 1 spot as they come out of turn number 4, and this crowd goes wild here on the front straightaway and into turns 1 and 2. And Scott Douglas, and Mike Priscillius loops it out of turn 4. No problem there. Will remain green flag racing, and Chuck Barnes is out front, but there's no question about Barnes' popularity here in the Sportsman division.
There's also no question about the driving expertise. That was a classic setup move on the outside, whipped it down to the inside. Marshall came up just a little bit protecting the groove, and Chuck was inside. And what a beautiful piece of driving from Chuck Barnes, who may be on his way to his first feature win of the year.
Well, you can't take anything away from Marshall Jaggers, though. Certainly a second place finish is a very good finish, and his first year here at the Speedway in the Sportsman division. And I tell you what, Jaggers looks very impressive here tonight.
Yeah, and I think that's the point that makes it even more impressive, the move that Chuck put down. Marshall having such a great run tonight. Chuck got there. Chuck could not hold the outside when he had to go through the stay dry, and just did come up with a beautiful move. And now Marshall's lost power, so unfortunately after a great run, there seem to be some problems on the Jaggers car.
And there's problems for Tom Seidler. Jaggers will take second right back. Chuck Winders and Seidler come together in the 4-turn area. Our point leader as well as Charlie Pierce get together in the 4-turn as well. And I tell you what, George Koch slams the brakes on to avoid it. But once again, it looks like there might have been some problems in the 3rd or 4th turn. It does not look like any oil was laid down, but Tom Seidler made a slip going into the 3rd and 4th turn. Chuck Winders was then collected, and then a second accident over here in the 4th turn area as well.
Red flag, Frank, so that means the scoring is going to revert back a lap, which could keep things quite interesting because they'll just have to back up 1 lap on their score sheet because of the red flag.
Backing up the RPMs in the 3rd and 4th turn, the green flag is back out. And it's Chuck Barnes who takes the lead going back into turns 1 and 2. Marshall Jaggers now accepts a challenge on the inside by the number 44 of Joe Lewis, moving down into turns 3 and 4. Joe's a story there. He's got a brand new car just built out of the Pro Crafters race car shops. And I tell you, Joe has never run better in the Sportsman division here at the Louisville Motor Speedway, Scott.
Right, Jar, and how about a tip of the hat for another rookie up there? Look in the 4th spot. That's the number 12 of Daryl Hadley, who came so close to winning the Bomber Championship here a year ago. Moves up to Sportsman. Obviously, he's got an outstanding car, but he's driving it well tonight.
Well, that isn't exactly James Chumley he's running against out there tonight. He's got some real greats in this division as they move down the back straightaway, but he currently runs at 4th place. Now the battle back at 5th. Let's look at the number 99 of George Koch, last week's feature event winner and a rookie in this division after moving up out of the mini stock division. And there's the number 8 of Chuck Winders. A lot of sheet metal damage to the outside of his machine as he races there with Gary Ott and Mike Priscillius as they move down the back straightaway. Into turns 3 and 4, and Winders' car scoots up the banking. Now looks to the inside of Mike Priscillius as they scoot down the front straightaway. Gary Ott, Kelly Goodlett also in tow in that battle, as well as the first 5 positions are all single file. Chuck Winders now nails down the number 6 position unofficially. Gary Ott in there as well in the number 33. Kelly Goodlett now looking to the inside of Ott as they come out of turn 4, and they tuck right back in line as well. Less than 2 laps to go in tonight's Winston Martin Landscaping Sportsman feature event. I mistakenly told you it was a 25-lap contest. It is 30 laps, and lap number 29 goes up on the board, and Chuck Barnes is out front.
Actually, it looks like Joe Lewis was picking up a little ground, but there's just not enough time to see if the 44 had a shot at him. Chuck Barnes will record that first feature win, and boy, is he stacking up those style and performance points.
He sure is. He's got 3 points towards the Style and Performance Award as the fastest qualifier so far this 3 times in 1991, and now he comes away with his first feature win here tonight at Louisville Motor Speedway. Across the line at 2nd, and probably his best feature event finish here at Louisville Motor Speedway, Joe Lewis out of Crestwood, Kentucky, across the line at 2nd. And once again, I believe that's his best feature event finish. And Marshall Jaggers really shows some signs of improvement in the Sportsman division along with Daryl Hadley. But there's your feature event winner. Let's hear it for him, Chuck Barnes.
Good call, man. Good job.